What's up, everybody? Chinchilla back here in the hot seat, and actually kind of excited because we have a new update for Phasmophobia. Let me see if I can actually put that up here and make it look all nice for you guys. Give me 1 second. Hey, girl, what's up? Oh, you just want a little bit of attention. Come here. All right, got a little Peppy here with me. All right. Nonetheless, I'm going to go over some of the updates here and let you guys know what's going on with Phasmophobia. This isn't really a huge update. It's more so kind of like a quality of life changes and hot fixes for a bunch of things going on there. There are a few changes to some of the ghosts, which are going to be very notable and good to know going forward for any games that you might be playing. Mainly, the two biggest ones that I noticed were for demons and for banshees. Apart from that, though, they did do some changes on the Shade, the Poltergeist, and the Hantu, and then there's a few other things. They did some changes on the Voodoo Doll, as well as some of the cards that come from the tarot cards, and a few other things that kind of just made the game a little bit better, in my opinion. Without further ado, though, let's go ahead and kind of hop into this and see what's good with all that. So, with the demons, they specifically changed their weakness. They actually swapped it with the Banshee. This serves, in their words, as a bit more thematical and serves as a better counter to their strength. This means that actually the Crucifix will stop their hunts within 5 meters rather than the original 3. And in my opinion, that does make a lot of sense and kind of benefits us as the player because we know that demons tend to hunt a lot. This is going to help with them not hunting too often and being able to kind of negate that fear as you're kind of doing your investigations. Apart from that, we do have a few new things with the Banshee. They did receive a new weakness and some new abilities. Their weakness now is that they can sometimes be heard wailing through the parabolic mic. So now, in my opinion, that makes the parabolic mic actually useful in the game. This also comes with the paranormal sound from the Banshee being improved overall. Their singing ghost events, specifically the singing ghost events, will now drain an extra 5% sanity on the Banshee's target, and they will only check their target's sanity percentage for initiating a hunt in multiplayer. So if you're with a bunch of people and that one person who's being targeted by the Banshee is under 50%, you can count on them getting hunted. Other than that, they actually added something that I thought was part of the game beforehand, but apparently wasn't. The Banshees now actually wander towards their target while roaming. I thought for a while that maybe they were always doing that, but that's a fairly new thing in this update, so good to know. I'm happy to see that. That makes it a little bit more interesting, especially if it might hunt right before it's right behind you. You might die, but it makes it a little bit easier to identify. So some of the things that they found with the Shade as well was that they usually showed themselves early on in contracts, so they kind of dialed that back in. They have a much lower chance to perform ghost events and returning to normal as average player sanity decreases. So basically what that means is for every percent of average sanity lost, ghost event chances increase by 2%, capped at 100%. For example, at 100% average sanity, you're going to have 0 chance of any ghost events. At 75% sanity, you're going to have about 50% chance for ghost events. And then at 50% average sanity, you're going to have 100% chance for ghost events. And now my dog's hear some ghosts downstairs, so that's great. For the Poltergeists, they only did really one change, which is the ability. The Poltergeist's ability will now reduce the sanity of all players around the ghost instead of just one player. And it's going to be at 2% sanity drain per object thrown. So if you put a bunch of objects in the middle of the room and it decides to throw all of them, and there's 5 objects there, you're going to lose 10% sanity. And it's not just one person in that room that's going to get affected. It's going to be everyone in the room now too. So that's definitely useful to note, especially if you're going to be playing in the van trying to support your teammates. Keep an eye on that sanity. A lot of the actual updates do affect a lot of the sanity now, so that's good to know. So with the Hantu, this is interesting to me because it was a ghost that was fairly fun to loop. You'd keep the breaker on, they'd be fairly slow, and you could just run around them, and it was hilarious. They deemed it not as threatening as it should be, so they gave him some speed and ability changes to make them a little bit more frightening in the cold. So the Hantu now have double the chance to turn off the power. They will trip the breaker and it will start dropping temperatures, of course. The Hantu will also now show their breath in room temperatures of 3 Celsius or lower. So I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm not sure if that's overall, like if the temperature is below 3% Celsius, then you'll always see the breath, or if it's only during hunts. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of investigating for that and see what's up with that. But overall, the Hantu's maximum speed has been increased and will change based on the temperature brackets. So oh, they're just killing toys back there. So at 15 plus Celsius, it's going to be running at 1.4 meters per second. At 12 Celsius, it'll jump up to 1.5 meters per second. At 9 Celsius, it'll jump up to 1.65. At 6 Celsius, it will be 1.8. At 3 Celsius, it will be 2.2 meters per second. And then at 0 freezing, it will be running at 2.5 Celsius. So if I remember correctly, I think the Revenant runs at 3 meters per second, so it's going to be slightly slower than the Revenant, but still just the same dangerous, and I wouldn't recommend running at them. Otherwise, something that's new that they actually added in was the High Priestess fairly recently. It's a tarot card that's now going to receive new functionality, which should help with drawing one early, playing solo, or even to counter some of the risk involved with other cards. Now, if you draw this card while no one is dead, it will revive the next player who dies. Now, I don't know if that revive is going to be instant, or they have to like die and then there's like a countdown or something for them to come back. Not quite sure yet. So I hope that we get some tarot cards and we can test that out, because that'd be very interesting to see. Other changes that they went ahead and did was the Tower card and the Voodoo Doll pins now force the ghost to interact with ghostwriting books, dots, projectors, and doors, instead of only interacting with clutter and objects around the area. That's going to be super useful. I always thought the Voodoo Doll was kind of meh, it wasn't that great. Now that kind of gives me a little bit more reason to use the Voodoo Doll. And now the Voodoo Doll's Sane Dranity has been reduced. Normal pins from 10% to 5%, which makes it a little bit more viable. And then the heart pin goes from 20% down to 10%. So that's going to be really, really useful. The Gray Ghost text also will no longer appear in the journal when taking a second ghost photo, and ghosts no longer turn on the lights before smashing them. So you might be in the dark when it goes poof. We'll see. Hopefully we'll see that today on the stream. Oh, we got Voodoo Doll. Hell yeah. Good old Voodoo. Who has the camera?
I do.
Here, I got it in my hand. Cool.